And I was about to spar. Before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy.
A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this.
The speed, Gervonta Tank Davis, if he put on the right weight, put the right weight on, and have the lean muscle right, he can look fantastic somewhere in the mid 150s, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul.
During a closed training session, unseen footage has surfaced showing Gervonta Davis reportedly flooring a heavyweight sparring partner while preparing for his upcoming showdown with Jake Paul. The clip captures Tank's trademark explosiveness and razor-sharp timing as he connects with a devastating left hand that instantly ends the session. The moment has sent shockwaves through the boxing world, with fans calling it undeniable proof that Davis's power, speed, and precision remain on another level, even against opponents far larger than him. Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult predicts that Gervonta Tank Davis will weigh in around 154 pounds for his anticipated bout against Jake Paul, brushing off concerns that Tank will be undersized.
He points out that Davis has previously walked around at that weight, making it far from unfamiliar territory.
In fact, Showbiz reveals that Tank has trained at 160 pounds before, proving the jump won't be as dramatic as many believe. He further highlights Davis's years of sparring with larger opponents, experience that has sharpened his reflexes, timing, and counterpunching against heavier hitters. According to Showbiz, this combination of experience, ring IQ, and explosive power gives Davis a decisive advantage. With full confidence, he declares that Jake Paul's size won't be enough to protect him once Tank lands clean, predicting a knockout victory for Davis with ease.
He's, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul. And dare I say it, I think that's the right thing for him to do. Why? I've been saying this. Number one, fighters need to start fighting closer to their walk-around weight. They're just healthier that way. They're just better and healthier that way. I mean, I know it's probably surprising them too. Like, that was the best I've seen Terrence Bud Crawford. Lamont Roach, he's fighting Pitbull at 140, coming from 130 and a pit stop at 135. You have Shakur Stevenson talking about fighting Teofimo Lopez. They're very close to making that fight at 140. And I think all of them would look their best there, especially Roach, where he ain't knocking nobody out down there at 130. But I bet you he'll be swatting far more at 140. Gervonta Tank Davis, I think, just like the others, fighting closer to your walk-around weight is just going to be one of the better performances for Gervonta Tank Davis. He's going to learn a lot about his body. He's going to learn a lot about himself and where he should campaign moving forward. Maybe even meeting Roach in that rematch at 140 himself. Also, another reason why I think it behooves him to come in knocking at 160 pounds is because of Jake Paul. It's not like Tank is going to dodge every punch Jake Paul throws, all right? Some of those going to land, and more than likely it's going to land on his guard. Tank is going to have his guard up. We need for him to be solid enough, his foundation and his base solid enough, so when Jake Paul hits him with those shots, he doesn't go flying around the ring.
Reports suggest that Tank Davis has been sparring with significantly larger opponents in preparation for his upcoming showdown with Jake Paul. However, this approach is nothing new for him. Since the early days of his career, Davis has regularly challenged himself against heavier fighters, using those sessions to perfect his timing, accuracy, and overall ring awareness. Thanks to his exceptional power and high fight IQ, facing bigger opponents has never been an obstacle. It's been part of what makes him so dangerous. In the latest training footage, Gervonta Davis appears sharper, leaner, and more focused than ever before. Every punch he throws blends raw power with surgical precision, the product of years of relentless discipline. His footwork is light yet commanding, each movement deliberate and efficient. Those watching can sense that every strike on the heavy bag follows a carefully calculated rhythm. The intensity in his eyes and the seamless connection between speed and strength tell the full story. Analysts across the boxing world note that Davis looks to be in his best shape in years. Driven, dangerous, and ready for battle. The way Tank controls distance, timing, and tempo during camp has reignited discussions about just how lethal he remains at the sport's highest level. One of the biggest discussions surrounding this matchup centers on the weight difference between the two fighters. While some believe Jake Paul's natural size gives him a clear advantage, others argue that Tank Davis's elite skill set will neutralize any physical gap. Many fans question whether the size disparity could pose a challenge for Davis, but those familiar with his career know he has consistently sparred and succeeded against much heavier opponents. Supporters often remind critics that boxing isn't decided by weight alone, but by timing, discipline, and technical intelligence. Tank's defensive sharpness and counterpunching prowess make him a riddle even the strongest fighters struggle to solve. His camp remains confident that his experience handling pressure and movement will allow him to use Jake's size against him. For Davis, this fight isn't about proving who's stronger, it's about proving who's smarter.
Happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Lamont Roach has recently spoken out with clear dissatisfaction toward Gervonta Davis, suggesting there are unresolved tensions between them. His comments have sparked conversation across the boxing community, with analysts detecting a trace of bitterness in his tone. Many believe Roach's frustration may have less to do with real conflict and more with envy over Davis's ongoing success and financial dominance in the sport. Once there was mutual respect between the two, but now Roach's remarks seem to carry a personal edge. Observers note that it's difficult for some fighters to watch Davis consistently capture the spotlight and command huge paydays while others struggle for recognition. Commentators point out that when fame and fortune enter the equation, rivalries often become emotional. Davis, however, appears unfazed by the noise, staying silent, disciplined, and focused on his craft, allowing his performance in the gym to speak louder than words.
Is direct. Reportedly, Tank's gonna make $40 million around there to fight Jake Paul. Would you do the same thing if you were in this situation? And he's like, actually, this is what I explained before. You're beating around the bush. It's really a yes or no. I would do it. I would take the 40 mil, or I wouldn't take the 40 mil. But let's listen to this long, drawn-out explanation.
There's about $40 million that he's going to get paid. If you were in his shoes, wouldn't you do the same thing?
See, now, this is something that I explain and express, and I hope everybody gets. That opportunity is an opportunity that you probably cannot pass up. But it's about how you handle it. It's about how you go about it. A lot of people don't know they actually exercise his rights to the rematch, so that contractually binds us to a fight. You cannot breach that. unless you do what you have to do to handle the business, to be like, okay, well, we mutually agree to let you move on and or swindle around and fight Jake Paul for this money. If you think I'm going to sit back by the wayside and sit there and be like, well, even though I'm contracted to fight this guy for this amount of money on this certain day, I'm just going to sit here and be cool with, oh, he might not ever fight me, and he's going to go fight and get paid and get this money, and I'm not supposed to get anything?
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and join me for more awesome videos ahead.